Naomi Oreskes, Why Trust Science? The University Center for Human Values Series, 1. In Why Trust Science, by Naomi Oreskes, the author delves into the philosophy and history of science, exploring the reasons behind society's eroding trust in scientific knowledge. Highlighting the importance of consensus in scientific findings, Oreskes emphasizes the necessary procedures and practices that ensure objectivity in scientific outcomes. As people increasingly question the reliability of science, the author examines the influence of politics and non-expert opinions on public perception. This book summary provides an insightful look into the evolving nature of science and the significance of maintaining informed trust in its outcomes.
The Philosophy of Science. Naomi Oreskes' Tanner Lectures on Human Values explore the history and philosophy of science since the mid-19th century, highlighting the need for diverse societies in creating science. Oreskes argues that politics and fact deniers have attacked science, making knowledge and honesty the best defense. Her precise definition of science and presentation of its history may surprise lay people, and she offers ways to bridge the gap between science insiders and outsiders. The responses from her peers provide an illuminating account of why society needs science now more than ever. Trust in science. Science, the authority on empirical inquiries about the world, has declined in reliability in recent years. Naomi Oreskes highlights how a lack of trust in science can be a worrying social phenomenon. The body of established facts constitutes scientific knowledge, and claims that survive scrutiny are considered factual. The author points out examples of individuals without scientific proof, including an actress, expounding on the dangers of vaccinating children and a former vice president touting creationism. Oreskes cautions the public that a lack of faith in science can have serious consequences. Trusting science. Science is not a self-correcting mechanism, but a community of scientists committed to correcting each other's mistakes. Oreskes argues that objectivity is achieved through the exposure and interrogation of old assumptions. Scientists must adhere to strict procedures and practices to ensure objectivity. While society should not blindly believe science, it should trust informed trust in scientists' consensual conclusions. However, the public must remain cautious of scientists who speak outside their area of expertise. The evolving nature of science. Oreskes emphasizes the continuous evolution of scientific truths as ideas are constantly questioned and challenged. By admitting mistakes, scientists can progress and thrive through constant inquiry and examination. The author illustrates how theories can arise from observations and provides the example of the first planes, which flew without a working theory of flight. Peer reviewing the mistrust of science. Using the framework of the scientific peer review process, the author solicits feedback from colleagues on her theories around why people mistrust science. Science and people's beliefs. Susan Lindy of UPenn highlights the widespread and alarming distrust in science today. However, Naomi Oreskes argues that people only reject scientific claims that contradict their beliefs. In her book, Susan Lindy, a renowned professor of history and sociology of science, expresses her concerns about the current widespread distrust in science, which she considers unsettling. However, her viewpoint has been countered by Naomi Oreskes, who believes that people tend to reject scientific claims that conflict with their beliefs. According to Oreskes, this skepticism is not necessarily anti-science but rather a natural consequence of how people process information. This debate shines a light on the complex relationship between science and people's beliefs. The importance of consensus in science. Mark Lang, a philosophy professor at the University of North Carolina, argues that criticism should not be directed at all scientific endeavors. This way, individual scientific achievements will not be questioned. Oreskes, on the other hand, believes that no one knows what absolute truth is, so people rely on consensus to decide what is true. Scientists can make errors, and skeptics sometimes lose debates. Undermining trust in science. Oreskes argues that climate deniers are not disputing science, but instead, manipulating scientific information to further their political agendas. She emphasizes that scientific progress depends on questioning, revising, and testing, and that trust in experts is crucial for societal progress. Oreskes concludes that the world will suffer if decision-makers ignore current scientific knowledge. Defense of scientific credibility. Naomi Oreskes presents a detailed history of how science has built its credibility over time and provides a sober defense of the field. She also explores how doubt about science emerged and characterizes the current state of science in America. Oreskes raises several critical points, although her writing style can be dry and scholarly. However, this informative and compelling read is highly recommended, particularly for students, commentators, and anyone seeking insight into today's divisive political discourse. Merchants of Doubt, co-written with Eric M. Conway, is another engaging read for those inspired by Oreskes' curiosity.
Naomi Oreskes' Why Trust Science skillfully investigates the reasons behind the growing distrust in scientific knowledge and emphasizes the need for constant inquiry, revision, and testing in advancing progress. The author underlines the importance of consensus among scientists, evidence, and open correction to ensure objectivity and credibility. Oreskes calls for informed trust in the scientific community and encourages decision-makers to act based on current scientific knowledge for the betterment of society as a whole. Overall, this book offers a fascinating and thought-provoking analysis of the challenges faced by science today, and the importance of safeguarding its integrity.